The Hawthorn side have just taken it to the Adelaide Crows and silenced this big crowd. And Dawson might just be able to take that chance. And footy's good again if you're a Crow. This is what we came for, Gaz.
That's right, Anthony. Don't hit me.
Dawson is probably the biggest threat at the moment. And that threat is growing. That was awesome. That was Jordan Dawson. Hardwick couldn't deny Rankine. How could you? How could you?
How did he do that? So this is just genius.
The Adelaide Crows have done it.
Unbelievable effort from the boys to fight back that second quarter. These are the games you love playing.
One of the wins, one of the games of the season. It was riveting football as Adelaide just nudged out Hawthorn. Isaac Rankine, that goal from the boundary line. Taylor Walker, 2 clutch set shots late, Joey, but it's time for our BP Premium Performance of the weekend, and it is Jordan Dawson.
Yeah, well, for me, this is why this guy will be the All-Australian captain, because of what he's been able to produce all year long. But this second quarter, in particular, this vision is just from the second quarter alone. When they needed their leader to stand up, when they were under the pump after the way that Hawthorn got out of the blocks, I just thought it was enormous. It was his 4th highest rated game of his career. Most of those rating points in this second term.
Wow.
It was inspirational. And for me, he's a lock for the All-Australian captain, and that's why.
Rankine not far off him, King.
Well, this is an interesting discussion, I reckon, because what do you prioritise, the team or the player? Because Rankine can be a top 5, top 10 midfielder in the competition, but they need him forward of the ball because you're talking about Leigh and Dawson and those guys getting the job done in the middle. So if you have a look at Isaac, so before he went forward, so you can see the averages of what this guy's doing. His numbers have taken a bit of a toll. He's dropped 6 touches a week. His clearances have snapped in half. He's obviously kicking more goals. Exact same amount of score involvements per game, which I think is interesting. But he's of more value as a magnet than what he's been as a midfielder. So looking at the team, so that's Isaac's. Look what it's done to the team. They were floundering a little bit as an offence in terms of their ability to convert. They get a lot of entries, but their ability to convert, their scoring's gone through the roof. So I just think against the best teams too, Joey, they've been excellent. So I'm looking at this thinking, OK, this is a forward 50 stoppage player that can shift the course of your year. We haven't seen a forward 50 stoppage player, I don't reckon, since Gary Ablett Jr. that can do what this guy does. It's a work of art. Every time he goes in there, he just does something extraordinary. Players can't go with him. I really love seeing guys trying to keep up. Now, Hardwick's quick, right? He gets the speed wobbles here. He cannot go with him. You know when he's cruising, he's going half speed. There goes Hardwick on the deck. He's just a freak at forward 50 stoppages. I love what he's doing. This is an asset that separates prelims. You'll see this late in game. To really give you that one cheap goal, you don't not really deserve.
So I just thought that Stevie Johnson, who we work with, Jay at Triple M, has always said that guys like this can go into the midfield and do what midfielders do, but not many midfielders can go forward of the ball and do what this guy can do, and that's why he's more valuable inside 50.
Yeah, well, that's what the numbers tell you too.
Yeah.
So look, this here, there'd be a handful of players in our competition that can do that. So I think sometimes you've just got to say we've got an artist, we've got a guy that's a chance in a close game like it was on the weekend. That was a cracking game. Full credit to Hawthorn as well. He was able to separate the game in the end with a big final turn.
And in finals, to knock off Adelaide, you have to have a working plan to stop that man. And you are 1A on the bus and have been for a couple of years now. Kingy right, it is time for Health is Your Best Player, thanks to HBF Health Insurance. We have to look at the flip side of that coin, and it is Will Day, because that serious foot injury, that navicular, that bone stress problem has ended his season. So only a couple of games back and he is out. He was probably their most important asset. He was the trump card for Sam Mitchell, but not only is his season over, I mean, you do have to have some sort of worry about his long-term fears. This becomes so important, his rehabilitation, to get him ready for next year. Hawthorn absolutely adamant that they were cautious with his recovery. They got it ticked off by specialists interstate and in Victoria. I think he missed 15 games, but history's going to show, fellas, that they pulled the trigger too quickly because it's blown up in their face. Is that being too harsh?
No,
I don't think so.
I think you have to make your own mind up. Was it worth the risk?
Well, not history.
Even now we know he's injured. Was it worth the risk?
No, they should have been more cautious.
No, I think that's what they'd be thinking.
And now his long-term future's in jeopardy to some extent. We don't know, and hopefully not, but to some extent.
I'm looking at what Colling would have done with De Go. He said, no, he's playing 60 minutes and that's it.
Yep.
And trying to manage that as close as they can. I think that you can draw a line between the two.
And the cramping goes to that. He totally cramped up in the third quarter.
It was a mess.
So potentially the conditioning wasn't there. It was a big decision for the Hawks. So who stands up?
Well, what that means now is it puts so much more pressure on John Newcombe to become that man. And if you remember this time last year, he put on his cape. He was sensational the final couple of games and the final series last year. Not having the same impact this year. So the first 16 rounds of being able to turn a clearance into an effective clearance for your team. He was 7th in the competition. That's out of the top 50 now, those numbers. So he's 46th out of the top 50 in turning a clearance into an effective clearance. Turning a clearance, effective clearance into a score, he was going at 43%. He was only Max Gawn was better in the competition. Now he's going at like about 14%. Really dropped off. And the percentage of team score involvement in the competition, he was going almost 1 in 3, 1 in 4 of his possessions were leading to scores. The last 4 weeks, that's now 5 weeks, that's 1 in 10. He's going at 10%. So I don't know whether he saw, I know he got subbed off a few weeks ago, doesn't look the same player we saw last year, but if they are to try and push for a top 4 and a flag spot, he has to get back to being that man because he's just been off the board.
I'm unsurprised. He's shouldered such a big load. That Hawthorn midfield doesn't have the depth. So he's been the spearhead in there and, you know, the season's worn down on him. We know how good John Newcombe is, but he's just shouldered such a massive load for the brown and gold.
When you need help, right, you got a guy as a midfielder who's been a best and fairest winner for you come on the field. You need better than this. You need better than this defensively. In a game that's an absolute arm wrestle, you've got Saligo versus Warple. He's your man. Where are you going? Where are you trailing off to? What are you doing? You're as fresh as fresh. You've got to get the job done. You've got to help your team. And this is where Adelaide are breaking teams. They're working all the way forward. They're working all the way back. And Warple wasn't prepared to do the same. And that's why you get beat in these close margin games, because you haven't got every I dotted and every T crossed. And I'd be furious if I was Sam Mitchell when I watched that sort of vision.
When he came on as the sub.
Yeah.
But they're not going to have that luxury now with another midfielder down.
Well, do you live with that? Do you just live with that, do you?
You've got to have the conversation, though.
I
you drop in for that.
100%.
You're going to go 2 midfielders down. They're playing Collingwood on Thursday night for their finals.
My lips are about to move.
Sorry.
I would play Watson more.
Or Dylan Moore. Trust Dylan Moore.
Trust Dylan Moore more than I'd trust that.
Ooh.
I'm only getting beaten by that once if I'm the coach.
Maybe he's got to get cranky for a little bit, the coach, because he will know that, James Warple. That's great vision. Kingy, right, Saturday night, Brisbane's win over Collingwood. Kingy, Nick Daicos.
Yes.
Is there a reliance in the engine room?
Well, it's Nick Daicos or bust at the moment, and I never thought we'd say that about Collingwood. When you look at the names that are there, I know De Go is coming back before you throw him at me, but this is ridiculous. You know, when he has 7 disposals or more in a quarter, they go at 77%. Very rarely does he have 4 or less, but he has had it a few times this season, 10 times I think this season. So okay, it's impossible to tag him. We're conceding that. Yeah. But a team tag is something I think you can explore or can look at. But let's have a look at the reliance. The numbers that stand out to me is the fact that they rely on him so heavily to score. So Joey's just talking about the slow ball movement down the line, and we'll get to that in a moment. 43% of Collingwood scores for the last 6 weeks have gone through Nick. Wow. Now, I can't remember seeing a player have such an impact, which is a great thing for Nick, but a bad thing for the group. We just talked about Isaac Rankine, how he's being deployed to help the team. This guy's everything for them. So when it doesn't work, I think Craig McRae's got some concerns. As good as Nick is, how do you use him? How do you make sure he's engaged in the game? I love what Brisbane did. Dunkley had an eye on him at all times. And there were times where he slipped the noose and bang. Oh. That's the sort of stuff that Chris Fagan would be absolutely delighted. And even when he wasn't absolutely on him, when he had others, he still went and got him. Like, I just marvel at what Josh Dunkley's able to do. And then they changed their tactics and rolled a few extras up from half forward to just gum it up a little bit, put some numbers around the action. And did they hunt? I've got no doubt this was a team tag. I've got no doubt they're all aware that this guy slips off the chain a little bit. I don't care who you're on, you're getting to Nick because he's 43% of their scoring.